Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy at AM 790 KBC and across the USC Trojans Media Network. I am Jordan Moore, alongside Sean Cody, Max Brown, and the new head coach for USC men's basketball. Please welcome Eric Musselman to the Trojan family and to the Trojans Live family here. Great to have you, Coach. USC's head coach interview is presented by I Trust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Coach, I was lucky enough to be at the press conference and talk to you a little bit there, but you had a great gig going. You come over to USC. Ultimately, what was the deciding factor to get you out here to Los Angeles?
I think there was a lot of factors. One, when you continue to have conversations with Jen Cohen, the vision for what she wants, not just from the basketball program, but from all of the athletics. It's so important as a head coach to have a partnership, with the athletic director. And the more I talked, the more excited I became. And really interesting, she even had, my wife Danielle was part of one of the Zooms, which I had never had that happen in an interview. I think it was important for Jen, for her to get to know my spouse as well. And so I think that's one factor. And then the brand of USC, growing up in San Diego, the power of USC is really, really strong, not just regionally, but nationally as well. And then I just thought that there was a ton of potential, for the basketball program, and to see what, Lindsay did this season. If you get the right players, this thing can explode, and certainly that's what, our goal is and our vision is. A lot of work ahead of us for sure. And then just from a personal side, that was a big part of the decision as well. I have a daughter that's going to be going into her freshman year, and we wanted her to be in a spot that, where she might go to college, which she's definitely going to go to college somewhere on the West Coast. And from being out this way, that was extremely important as well. My mom never saw an Arkansas home game, and she was at the press conference. So yep. I was on the job one day and I already got to see my mom, and I hadn't seen her in 5 years, coaching at Arkansas. So for a lot of factors, this is really, and people say it, but I truly mean it, this is like a dream job for me.
Coach, for the Trojan fans out there who are unfamiliar with the Musselman brand of basketball, what can we expect to see from your basketball teams and when we get on the court in Galen Center there?
Yeah, I think, really maybe because of my pro background, I think, once the roster's formulated, I know what I would like the team to look like. Historically, we've been a team that's been pretty long, athletic, a team that really reacts to loose balls, really good defensive teams. We've had, at times we've struggled offensively, shooting the ball, but we've been a really high-volume free throw attempt team, and I don't think that'll change. We were second in the country this year.
Attack the rim.
We attacked the rim, and try to get in the bonus early, try to put pressure on the defense. And then defensively, we haven't played not 1 second of zone in 9 years of coaching college. So much like an NBA, format, on both sides of the basketball. So we'll see what our personnel is, because you obviously want to play to your personnel, but we want to try to create, mismatches and put the defense in a position where they're committing fouls, and then that allows our defense to get set as well.
Coach, I got to give you props. Yours was the first intro press conference I've seen from a coach with no notes. You just walked up there straight off the skull, which is a good sign, confident sign for sure. And question for me, though, in terms of building this roster, like I'm having deja vu when Lincoln Riley got on board, and you're going to attack the portal. That's the new wave of college sports. With the football, you kind of know, hey, I need 3 quarterbacks on my roster. I need 7 offensive linemen that can go play. Basketball, every decision is so valuable because there's only so many seats. In some rosters, you might be guard heavy. Some rosters, you might be big heavy. How do you approach the portal and roster building in year one, knowing that, hey, every single guy that you take on, has to have a valuable role?
Great question, because you're right, in basketball, if you have an 8-man rotation and you make a mistake on one of those 8, it's going to come back, once you start playing games in November. I think, the makeup of our team, we need 2 point guards, we need 2 off guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, and 2 centers, but that's easier said than done. If we are going to have an overload positionally, we wanted to be a multi-skilled, multi-positional player, somebody in the mold of 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". Those guys have been the guys that have really thrived in our system. When I look back and think about Cody Martin and Caleb Martin and Moses Moody, Nick Smith, Anthony Black, Jordan Walsh, we've had so many guys of late that have gone on, had really good careers in the NBA. Ricky Council, we had 4 guys off last year's team that are playing in the NBA, and they're all right there at that 6'5" to 6'8" range. And quite frankly, when we were recruiting those 4 guys, people felt like there was no way that they were going to be able to mix together. And I think if you have guys that can play multiple positions, you can't go wrong. So the more 6'6" guys we can have on the roster, the better. We've even played guys out of position like 6'6" point guards that have never played that position in their life, and we kind of turn them into that position, and we feel like defensive rebounding, length, contesting threes, it gives us a huge advantage even if they're not natural point guards.
You're listening to USC men's basketball head coach Eric Musselman on Trojans Live. And Coach, you mentioned USC has a great national brand, but also obviously is a fixture in Los Angeles. How do you plan on approaching that from a recruiting standpoint? Are you focused on trying to attack Southern California, all of California, or are you just looking for 12, 13 great hoopers, and it doesn't necessarily matter where they come from?
No, I think in a market like Los Angeles, it's extremely important. I know that the success of Arkansas was we kept players in state, and Moses Moody played for us for 1 year. He was a one-and-done player, and he led us to an Elite Eight. Led us in scoring as a freshman. So, Anthony Black, Dallas was kind of in our region. It was only a 5-hour drive. Another lottery pick who led us to a Sweet 16, led us in minutes played. So those 2 guys are great examples of freshmen that can take you to Sweet 16s or Elite Eights, even though they're not upperclassmen transfers. And I truly believe that the only way to win big is you've got to get 5-star high school players that are NBA lottery picks or NBA first-round picks. And that's certainly got to be what we do here. I think first it's the LA market, then maybe you expand, to Northern California. But certainly this area historically has produced a lot of NBA first-round draft picks, and we certainly want to recruit the area as hard as we can.
Coach, we're watching the season wrap up here tonight for college basketball. Where are we at with, when you got to hit this thing running, right? We know college coaches don't ever get time off. This is a full year-round business. There's no off season for you. Where are you at in the season? What part are you at where you got to get or have you got in front of the team? Have you got the chance to talk to some? I know a lot of moving pieces still. Where are we at there?
Yeah, so we met, I met individually with guys, and then I also had 3-man meetings. Obviously, there's a lot of guys in the portal. And so you just kind of be as truthful as you can. We're not ever into promising minutes to anybody. We're not into promising starting spots. And then so you just kind of, with the players that played last year and are currently going to school and are in the portal and trying to decide what they're doing, I think that you can only talk about, your accountability, what's important to you, and then you just kind of put the decision on them. But we're recruiting the portal super hard. We had 5 Zooms today, and it's kind of nonstop until we get this roster together. My wife and daughter went back to Fayetteville, and I told them, hey, I don't know when I'll see you. I'll see you when we have 13 players. That's the next time you'll see me.
It feels like the natural progression for coaches across sports is, you're prideful and you wanna get the bigger job and the blue blood program and things like that. But for SC, yeah, the brand is powerful. But as a SC basketball fan, it feels like a lot of the chatter is, why can't we be at their level, so to speak? How much of this job was the attraction of the personal fulfillment that could come to by bringing a program to heights they've never been before, potentially, versus on the football side, it's getting back to what that was. Basketball, it's a different beast.
Yeah, I love challenges, not afraid of challenges. Look, I left one of the best jobs in the country, and I think you see what's going on at Arkansas right now. It proves what a great job it is. We, increased the attendance. We were selling out 20,000 every night. you know, it's a basketball program that's had great history. And I left that, you know, because I felt like this is a great challenge. It's at a university that I want to be a part of, and the challenge is there. And I think that our leadership at this university wants the basketball program to win as well, and that's super important. And now it's about getting the players, you know, and then building, you know, from one year to the next year. And like I said, you know, obviously we're not going to dive into the high school. It's too late for that for this year, but certainly in the next couple years, we want to try to make a huge imprint in the high school scene as well.
Last one, Coach. You know, a couple weeks ago we had Danton Lynn on, who's the new football defensive coordinator, and he's the son of Anthony Lynn, who was a longtime NFL head coach. And I was talking to you earlier that, you know, you are the son of a longtime basketball coach who was an NBA head coach. You were an NBA head coach. The question I asked Danton was, do you think that you're good at this, you got into this because you grew up around it because your dad, or was he really teaching you how to be a coach?
Well, he was for sure teaching me how to be a coach without, you know, maybe him even knowing or me knowing. I think that, you know, when you go on road trips, you know, I was a ball boy, you know, when my dad was coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers, and one of the hardest dinner conversations was when I told my dad I wanted to be the ball boy for the opposing team for all of the 41 home games. And my dad said, you know, why? I thought you'd want to hang out with me. And I was like, no, I want to learn, and I want to see what the other locker rooms are every night. So, you know, I had the chance at a really, you know, young age to rebound for guys like Larry Bird and be in the locker room at halftime and hear opposing coaches give halftime speeches and pregame speeches. And, you know, when you look back and you think as a 10th grader and you're in an opposing locker room and you're listening to this stuff, like, wow, that stuff is powerful. And so many great things and stories that I learned from hanging out with my dad, going on road trips, and then the exposure that he gave me, because he was really close with a lot of people in other sports. Paul Brown, the great football coach, lived in La Jolla where I grew up, and I remember my dad having dinner conversations with Paul Brown. My dad was really close with Billy Martin, the former Yankee manager. So I went to World Series when Billy Martin was managing, and actually the series was against the Dodgers. One year that I got to hang out, and so I'd just been exposed to so much, and a lot of it's because of my dad. I never thought that I would do anything other than follow in his footsteps. My mom wanted me to be a lawyer, so I went to University of San Diego, and my mom thought I was going to go to law school when I was done, and I ended up selling tickets for the Clippers. So that was a lot different than being a lawyer.
Man, I can't imagine all those stories. We'll have to get some of those stories out of you as we get going here. But welcome again to the Trojan family. Thanks so much for joining the show. And everyone, I'm sure you're all inspired about everything that you're hearing. Go to usctrojans.com, put down your season ticket deposit right now. Let's get to Galen. The new season will start in November. The Eric Musselman era has begun here at USC. Thank you, Coach. Coming up, we're going to pivot to Carolyne Stern from USC Women's Water Polo. That is next on Trojans Live.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Good job, Coach.
Appreciate you. Yeah, anytime. That was fun. That was easy.
You gotta get some of those. I want to get some of the
Homer interview.
stories.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I got some great Bill Walton. When he got hurt, he kept saying, go fill the, you know, because they had beer all the time. Go fill the Gatorade cup. I mean, he was getting smashed. Artis Gilmore was out there, and he thought, yeah. All right, you guys. Great meeting you. Thanks so much. All right, great meeting you too.
Thank you very much. I'm Caroline.
Lanier, he's a.
Thank you. Hello. I'm Caroline. Nice to meet you. Hello.
We already met. We're good to go.
Never mind.
We're besties.
Besties.
You know?
Mike's in a good spot for you.
How we doing? Good. I like to.
What a reference.
No, there's safeties. How many safeties do you
You want to just Wherever you're going to sit, I'm just
All right,
going
what
to
is safety?
Yeah.
You're the safety or what?
think we should be fine there.
Safety.
Well, yeah, why is safety, is that just coincidence? Got to get the pick. Lock it in.
This thing is loud.
Yeah. Is it too loud?
A little, yeah.
Hey, Ben.
A little loud. Everyone says.
Not me. Or guys. Okay, cool. Sometimes I go 1 ear on, 1 ear off.
Okay.
Is it still too loud? I mean, I just want to double check.
No, it's fine.
Check. Oh, is it
Yeah,
up?
that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
We got Drew Brees on the
My last question.
telecast.
That's okay.
I know. Your middle segment's just going to be 5 minutes.
It's a sleeves and jersey guy? You a sleeve and jersey guy? You go sleeves?
What the heck were we going to even talk about in that
If I
section?
was in that scenario, yeah. T-shirts
I
kind
don't
of.
actually know what's happening with football.
I'm not big like you go cut sleeve. I can't do that. I'm like skinny.
I just go jersey, straight jersey.
Hey, Trojan fans, did you know the Ralph's app gives you easy access to weekly sales and personalized coupons, and you can earn field points too? Check out the app today and save while you cheer us on to another great season. Ralph's a proud partner of USC Athletics, and the Women's Spotlight is brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market, open 7 days a week. Visit your neighborhood Sprouts for good-for-you groceries and great prices on the freshest produce. Our Women's Spotlight is on USC Women's Water Polo, as we have Carolyne Stern here, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown. Carolyne, welcome to the show. You are the goalie for water polo. I'm wondering, how did you end up as the goalie? I always feel like in soccer, if someone gets like stuck there and then becomes the goalie, but I don't know. In water polo, it seems like an awfully important position. So how did your development process go?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was 12, and before that I played softball and wasn't very too good at the whole land sport thing. So yeah, I joined water polo, and at that time, my coaches, we needed a goalie, and walking on deck, I was the tallest, and they're like, you'll be the goal. So yeah, that's kind of how my journey started.
I always often wondered about the goalie as the play goes away from you. Are you trying to set up things? Are you're getting ready for what's coming at you? What are you just hanging out like waiting? All right, come on, bring the action back. Let's go.
Yeah, pretty much. While my teammates are down playing offense, I'm just counting down the shot clock in my head and saying, okay, 20 seconds, just repeating that out loud for them so they can hear. But at the same time, kind of figuring out where my opponent's best players are and their best shooters. So when they're coming back down, I know exactly where they are, and just
Do you
kind
have
of
to keep
focus
treading
on that.
water the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no.
Hop back in. Get out of here.
No, yeah.
How's the season been so far? What's the outlook of the team? And I know only a couple weeks left of the regular season. Give us the breakdown.
Yeah, so this year it's been interesting. We've had a lot of players leave from the past couple years. So we're a super young team, but with that being said, we have a lot of potential. We have a great freshman class. A lot of people stepping up this year. This past weekend we played Stanford, and unfortunately that we didn't have a great outcome, but at the end of the day, it's what we learn from that and bring that into the next couple games. So
Yeah, Stanford's kind of your bugaboo team a little bit. They knocked you out of the tournament last year. They've gotten you a couple times this year, but water polo losses are always close, so it's not like they're miles away. Is it a matchup thing? What do you guys look at knowing that you'll probably see them again down the road at some point here?
yeah, for sure. The past 2 years, we lost them in the championship, so that obviously has been super hard. So every time we play them, it's very emotional, at least for me, just because of what they have taken from us in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into the future, just kind of knowing like who they are. They've always had the same kind of game plan. So trying to figure out what they do now that's maybe new or something. But yeah.
Fifth-year senior, right? Correct?
Yeah.
So what's it like? You said you mentioned a lot of young women on your team, and what's it like being in that leadership role where you have to say, I have a young team, I'm stepping up, I got to show everybody who's in charge and being that captain.
Yeah, it's been a great lesson for me. Just kind of honestly, the freshmen this year, they give me like life. Like they're great at what they do. They're super eager to learn. So for me, it's been really easy to have them on my team, and I respect them a lot. They respect me. So it's been really nice having them to kind of have my back, and then I'll have theirs too. So yeah.
Looking back on your time at SC, what's been, I guess, the highlights or just the whole journey the past 4 years being part of such a storied program?
Yeah, so the past couple years obviously have been great. I wouldn't trade anything, my experience for anything. Last year was one of my favorites. All my best friends are on that team. Like I said, unfortunately, we didn't win, but at the end of the day, it's your teammates and your friends. Like we're all sisters, and for me, that's been the most important thing I've taken out of my entire experience.
You're listening to Carolyne Stern on Trojans Live. You are a goalie. What's the most difficult type of shot? I mean, sometimes I feel like they're skipped in. Sometimes they go with a lob shot. What's the more difficult shot to deal with?
Yeah, like my entire career here, like it's called a lob. So like basically like if someone's faking like a bunch of times and they just kind of like rainbow shot it over me, that's always been kind of my like weakness, I guess. But yeah, so that's something I'm definitely working on, but hopefully my opponents are watching this. But yeah.
Is it just take a ton of core strength to sort of pivot backwards? Is that really what it's like a test of?
That and just like being a goalie, like it's all about like leg strength. So core obviously and legs as well has been like what I've tried to focus on.
You played on the junior national team, correct? So is it the goal after you're done with your collegiate career to get into the Olympics?
No, it used to be when I was like a little kid, but after this is my 5th year now, and just kind of I've loved every moment that I've had, but I'm ready for like the next chapter, getting a job, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah.
That doesn't sound that fun.
So what's the pathway the next month or so? A couple more weeks of regular season in the tournament. Where's the current standings, and kind of what do we got to get? What do we got to improve on to get over the hump?
Yeah, so this next week we play ASU at ASU, so that'll be a tough game. Right now, the women's season especially, like it's been anyone's game. All the women's teams have stepped up, so focusing every week to be 1-0 has been our goal. So yeah, just kind of focusing on that. And then the week after that, it's my last time playing at home against UCLA. So I'm super excited for that. And then after that, it's MPSF and then NC2A. So got a long couple weeks ahead of us, but I'm excited.
Well, you heard the woman, April 20, USC, UCLA, your senior day, your last UCLA game here at Utengzu. So make sure everyone gets to that. That will be a raucous crowd, no doubt. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
We will be cheering for you for sure. Monster Energy is the official energy drink of USC. Unleash the Beast. And coming up next, we will have Keely Orr and our weekly football roundtable on Trojans Live.
Boom. Great job.
Thank you.
Enjoy the final few weeks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great meeting you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Fresh off the practice field?
Yeah, walkthrough tonight, so, yes, but off the practice field
You guys do walkthrough tonight for then full prad tomorrow?
tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Early morning.
Yeah, 5:20.
I saw that on the stories. Is that a class thing or just a Coach Riley getting after the guys?
A little bit of both. Yeah, a little bit of both.
Make sure you're in a good spot, Coach.
Okay. Good.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of USC. Unleash the beast. And want the inside scoop on this game and all things Trojans? Be sure to sign up for the 3 Torches presented by Smart and Final. It's a free newsletter that'll hit your email inbox 3 times a week with game info, player insights, and more. Go to usctrojans.com/3torches and sign up. Back on Trojans Live, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, and we are joined by the new linebackers coach, Matt Entz. Coach, welcome. Great to have you. We're all very excited to get you. It seemed like a real coup because you are a big-time accomplished head coach in of yourself, a 2-time FCS national champion head coach. What was it? What was the ultimate factor that got you to USC here to be an assistant?
Well, I think the first thing was just the brand. USC kind of, to me, it's one of the top 2 or 3 blue blood programs in the country, and so I have an opportunity to work at a place where there's all the resources that's available. Didn't really know Coach Riley, but through the process, just having an opportunity to have some conversations with him, I really appreciated kind of what his vision was, what he wanted to do, and realized that there was great people here. And I think the combination of those 2 things, and then probably a little competitiveness myself, wanting to continue to climb the professional ladder.
Coach, what's it been a couple of weeks here now in the spring ball? What's it been like working with Coach Lentz and all the new coaches in your defensive meeting room?
It's been good. I think going back to early January when we all kind of finally got our feet on the ground here in Southern California, it's been very positive since then. We got a tremendous defensive staff, a lot of very successful men in there that have been multiple spots along the way, have won a ton of ball games and done it differently everywhere we've been. The one thing that I'll say is it's a very humble group. Everyone's here to pour into the players, continue to get them better, to continue to elevate, elevate our play, but also attack our process. And that's one thing that I think Coach Lynn has done a really good job of, is establishing what it looks like for install, repetition, kind of install things, whole part whole, and so our kids have a pretty good understanding. We've thrown a lot at them this first spring. We need to because we want to have film of everything, and they've done a good job, and I give him a lot of credit because of just the style of teaching and how he wants to go about doing that.
Yeah, it feels like that comment about the install and what Coach Lynn's doing, Coach Riley's referenced that in a couple interviews too, has the install process with Coach Lynn been similar to what you've been used to in the past, or what makes it so unique that that specific talking point continues to come up?
Well, I think it's similar to what we've done or what I've been involved with, but I think it's probably atypical for what our players here have been used to. The thing we have, like when we walk through, like tonight, there was 3 different walkthroughs going on at once, and so everyone is involved. There is no place to hide out or just to kind of listen. And then every maybe 5-7 minutes we rotate, and so you'll go from a pressure walkthrough to maybe a formation adjustment to another pressure walkthrough, and so just repetition. Our goal is, we got to be able to do it. We have to do it enough until we can't get it wrong. And so that's kind of the mentality right now, is we're going to make sure we get plenty of reps in these walkthroughs, so that way on practice days we're seeing it emulating perfection. We're getting closer to what we're looking for.
You're listening to USC linebackers coach Matt Entz on Trojans Live. And Coach, I'm wondering, what perspective did you learn from being a head coach that now you take, to being a position coach that, that you've been in that big seat? What did you learn from it?
Well, when you're the head football coach, you worry about everyone and everything. You are, the ultimate vision. You create the goals. You create the, where we're going, how we're going. You kind of steer the ship. as a position coach, I get to steer my own little ship, but it's my position room. And, there's 10 guys versus 150 people and 50, 60, operation people that are tied to it. And so I've joked with him a little bit when there's those moments, those head coaching moments, I'll kind of give him a point and a smile and say, hey, this is on you now. I'm going to go worry about some run fits or something that, is much less taxing. One of the things sometimes as a head football coach, and in this landscape of college football, you're moving farther and farther away from the X's and O's because of all the other things that now the job. You're a little bit GM, you're a little bit, roster management, all those things have become a huge priority.
Salary cap guy.
Exactly. And as a head football coach, you're in that role because of your ability to coach and your ability to lead and develop. And all of a sudden, when you get in that role, sometimes you feel like that's the last thing you get a chance to do.
Well, let's talk about your ship then, your little ship that you're guiding. Coach, what about your room? Tell us about your guys, what you see during spring, what maybe some pieces you might need to add.
I'm excited about where we're at. We have continued to improve. I can confidently say we're better. But I told our kids this, that better doesn't mean we're good. It just means that we've continued to improve. Our three veterans, I think, Eric, Mason, and Easton have been the three that have stuck out and probably have made the most plays for us over the course of spring. We need to continue to lead on those guys for leadership, for execution, for their energy. They need to bring someone with them as they continue to strive to be a good defense in 2024. We need to find ways to continue to use Eric Gentry. I said it the other day. He's he's atypical, 6'6", 220-pound linebacker. But we got to find ways. We've lined him up on the LOS. He's been off the ball. He's ran the deep middle run through and some versions of different coverages. And so finding ways to get him on the field along with the two others, will be a challenge for us. But I think, there's going to be enough sub-packages during the year that we'll be able to do that.
You mentioned the brand of SC being an attractive component to why you came here, but a guy like yourself in a position where you had options, you're also somewhat taking a chance on Coach Riley and Coach Lynn in terms of attaching yourselves to them as a strategic chess move, for lack of a better term, as you look at your career. What about those guys really stuck out to you as, hey, I want to link up with those guys and grow together?
Well, I did my own due diligence, just like Coach Riley and Coach Lynn probably vetted me during the process. I vetted them as well. And so I know Coach Riley is close friends with some other head coaches that I've worked with. I know Coach Lynn has worked with some people in the NFL that are close to me. And so, I think our vision, the things that are important in the developmental, I'm a developmental coach. Regardless, we're going to recruit 5 stars. We're going to get some really good players here. They also need to continue to be developed and improved. And I felt like that was the basis for this program. We want to continue to recruit the very best high school players we can and mix in maybe some portal kids or some transfers. But, and if we can do that, then I think we can sustain success here. And it's been great. I've been here for 3.5 months. It's been a blast. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say it's much warmer here than it would be in Fargo, North Dakota at this time. Yep.
You led me right into my next question because when I look at this staff, it seems like we have targeted coaches that can develop talent. Mm-hmm. But everything we see in this college football world and college athletics landscape is everyone's on a one-year kind of deal. How hard is it to sort of match those two things up? Do you need to find the right kids that are willing to buy in for 2, 3, 4 years, or do you really feel like you can affect a kid and change a kid in 9 months?
Well, I think you need to find the right fit. I mean, that's regardless. Chasing stars is going to lead to disappointment at times. One of the things that I know on the defensive side of the ball we've really emphasized through recruiting is having player-coach interaction when they step on campus and getting into some deep conversations as far as schematics go. I want to find those kids that are intrinsically motivated, that love football, because then I know that they're going to want to be developed versus a kid that just likes to compete. I don't know if that's necessarily what you're looking for. You want people that love the game and see that there's a process attached to it. If they are a result-oriented person, it's going to be, they're probably going to fall into the boat like you talked about, looking for the easiest way to get on the football field. But you go through that process, and what we're doing right now, recruiting, putting guys in meeting rooms with Coach Lynn or position coach and really drilling them to see what they know and how they learn and what motivates them. I think we're going to find that we're going to get the right kids that who knows where their ceiling is.
Coach, I'm getting a lot of intensity out of the defensive staff. I'm hearing you now talk. I can feel the passion. We had Coach Henderson last week. We know Coach Newell brings the passion. On that practice field, who's the loudest dog out there, Coach? I want to know who's out there barking at the guys the loudest. Who's chasing them down? Who's that coach?
I think it varies. I think Coach Newell is consistently the one. But I think everyone has their moments to get after one another. I know there's times when we're in some 11 on 11. I'll jump right in and get after the D-line. And it's not my group, but again, if they know that everyone's committed to seeing them have success, then I think you create that buy-in, that continuity, that cohesiveness.
Oh, wait, Coach Entz is watching too. I got to.
Right, yeah, and vice versa. If Coach Henney or Coach Newell said something to a back, good. I mean, I don't want kids thinking that no one's paying attention. We got a lot of eyes on them. We got great coaches, and it's a tremendous staff. And like I said, everyone's humble enough to say when they're wrong or when we got to improve here or there from day to day, and that's fun to see.
Well, you got us fired up, Coach. We are excited to see what you guys do with this defense and this team as a whole. The spring game is a great opportunity to take a look at the Trojans. April 20, noon kickoff at the Coliseum, so make sure that you are in the house for that one. When you've got good beer and good vibes, it's all Buenos. Stone Buena Vista Salt and Lime Lager is Baja-inspired and imported from San Diego, located near you at findoutstonebrewing.com. All right, as promised, our football roundtable is coming up next with Akili Arnold. Thank you, Coach. That was awesome.
You bet. Thank you.
Natural.
Yep, anytime.
It's almost like you've been a head coach before.
Thank you.
You bet.
Awesome meeting you.
Yep, nice to meet you guys. Thank you. You bet. We'll see you. Yep, we'll see you around. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Check. Are you hearing me here? Test.
Yeah, follow that up, Keely.
What's up, Keely? How are you?
Test.
How are you doing? Monday.
Test.
Mondays.
Jordan, are you quizzing us on any player specific?
Ooh, hot mics. You guys want to hear the inside?
I might ask about Eric Jeffrey, offensive line and kicking competition. I was literally just trying to look at things that were like, we don't have to necessarily name names, but like,
No kick. Don't talk to me about.
Max, you got this.
honestly,
No.
anything you guys want to bring it up. I mean, I feel kind of out of the loop.
You guys should fill us in on last week's episode. How about that?
Yeah, what's that? It's great. Fun?
Max.
It was way better than my first hosting gig, that's for sure.
The first one's always a bumpy ride.
The ad reads.
I'm still triggered by the Stone Buena Vista.
The one that screws me is, I was telling these guys, they wrote out one of the websites, and I was like, so it was like,
You shouldn't be hearing that on your cameras right now.
it was like HTTP dash, spelled dash, like KeelyYour.dot, like com, and I was like, what?
And when you're in the middle of it,
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
what are these letters?
Yeah.
I like type out everything
Really?
so that I can just like read it like a robot. Don't need to think. And even still mess it up.
Did that change?
Yeah, part of me is like, when I get that way, I get like too robotic, where if one thing's off, and you're like, what the heck?
I don't know what's going on, man.
Football roundtable.
It's sounding better now, like all right, come back.
Trojans Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, a proud partner of USC football. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, Keely, you're talking some USC football, our weekly football roundtable. You know, Keely and I were on the road last week with women's basketball. We left you guys to mind the shop. How was it? How was Coach Henderson? I know you were looking forward to that interview, talking a little D-line.
Oh, he's great. And great to talk to a guy like that. Especially I got to see him work a little bit the week before, and Aaron Donald visited and all kinds of stuff. So we talked about that. We got to talk about his defensive line, his vision of what he wants to bring, and he got with the dog work. That's his motto. So he got to bring out the dog work, and we talked about that for a little bit. So it was great. He seemed like he's just like Coach Entz. You sit here with these coaches. They're passionate. They understand the job. They all talk about developing these guys. They can see them. You can see the mission coming together. Lincoln Riley had a mission going into the offseason, what he wanted his defensive staff, I think, to look like, and they're all on message.
And they're both coming here. I mean, obviously every coach has some level of intention, but both guys with Entz, like he doesn't shy away from it at all. Like, hey, this is a career move for me strategically long term. And then with Henderson, I found it refreshing him talking about, hey, I wanted to come back to the college ranks because I wanted to recruit. So often now with coaches, we talk about how daunting the recruiting phase is, and like, oh, you got to stay away from that, go to the pros. He's the exact opposite. I think it's why he's had success, at least on paper so far through a couple months. And like you said, both guys have that juice, but it's not juice just to have it and say we're excited. It really feels like it's genuine.
Well, I thought it was fascinating how he was just mentioning that everyone's going to see you on the practice field. I feel like a lot of times it was compartmentalized in past years, and now everyone's kind of in the same room trying to make sure that everyone has it together and has that chemistry.
And it can't be compartmentalized.
Yeah.
Defense has to be. I mean, I know you're with your guy, but if your D-line coach, like you said, if your D-line coach isn't getting mad at a linebacker for not stepping up and filling a gap when your defensive lineman's sitting in a double team, then you're not playing defense right. You're not doing it right. You all need to be in the boat together, and I thought that was a great point.
Especially with 3 walkthroughs, like you literally can't coach 3 walkthroughs unless guys are doing double duty, which is, I like it.
Which I'm also curious, sorry, Jordan, as someone who's lived it, Sean, with Sean Newell moving over to defensive end as the defensive end coach, how does it look like with Henderson as well?
They look like when I was out there for practice, they were just feeding off each other. Coach Newell was helping out with the outside guys, and Henderson looks like he's a little more with inside guys. But, I mean, that's kind of interchangeable. Coach Newell knows that position. Yeah. Obviously, Coach Henderson is coached in the NFL and knows the position. So I'm sure it's interchangeable in there. They probably sit with their guys and have more notes for them, but
it's fluid.
It's fluid, I'm sure. And they know how to work with each other. And Coach Newell would have moved on if he didn't have a role here, I think, on this team.
Yeah, I also think, and I wonder what you think about this, I think everyone is on board that position group is the most important position group in this transition to the Big Ten, that an offensive line. And I think they felt comfortable about where they were, at least from a coaching standpoint and offensive line and a player development standpoint. But it almost makes a statement when you're investing that much coaching power into one area. It is clear what is the focus. The line of scrimmage is now a very clear stated focus for this program, and a clear and obvious message that we are changing conferences and life is going to change because of it.
It's always got to be the focus, Jordan. It's not the quarterback. It's the guys up front who make to win the game, man. I know we get caught up in all these things on the outside that are happening, but the big men are winning up front, Max. It's a long haul, buddy.
Totally. Offensive line, too, a lot of questions there, especially, these 3 months ahead, so much has been made of the weight gains for the team in general. There's the weight gains, sure, but the confidence gains that, hey, these next, 7 practices or whatever is remaining, like, those are critical for the offensive line going into August, having some idea of, okay, guys are going to get healthy, guys are going to mature a little bit, but have some idea of what that starting 5 is going to be like. It feels like we know a couple of the pieces, but that specifically, I think looking back 2 years, that's a position that we totally underestimated the value when you had Brett Nealon in there in the center and how helpful that'd be in the transition. That position specifically over the next few months is huge.
Yeah, 2 points. To your point, Jordan, they've named it the Big Offseason, Big Ten, but they have the Big Ten brand. Yeah. But apparently they've gained 900 pounds this offseason, which is insane. But to your point about offensive line, they have talked about how maybe they underestimated how critical that offensive line chemistry was in that first year under Lincoln Riley. And it's definitely something that they want to make sure they're getting right. And that starts with Shown in Mannheim, which head coach Lincoln Riley said he's ahead of schedule. They moved him over to center, and he said mentally we knew he would be ahead of things, but physically he's looking good in practice. So that's something noteworthy as well.
Yeah, I read some positive stuff too about Mason Murphy, who's another guy who got to develop, right? And that's what we're talking to Coach Entz about, which is if you allow time in your career for development, these coaches can really make you a better player, and they're sort of looking for the players that will maybe allow for a little bit of that time because everyone seems to be in such a hurry these days.
Yeah, you got to be willing to be coached up. And, sometimes you get stuck, I think I want to do this so fast and fast. It's got to happen on this time schedule. And it's not always the case. You got to get some coaching out there.
Trojans Live is sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. Coming up, one of the new additions to this USC football team, Akili Arnold, is next on Trojans Live.
Is it Keely?
So, Max, good to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. Yeah.
How you doing?
Let me sit that far.
I can hear you, too. Thank you.
Big hearing guy.
Big hoop guy. This is bad.
You'll wear the headphones
Okay.
so you can hear everybody.
For sure.
You can hear your own voice and it'll be really good.
Oh, I can hear like the commercial.
Yeah, it's kind of loud today.
Yeah.
Jordan brought his thunder voice today.
All right.
Am I a little loud?
Do you guys have any water, by chance?
I think they.
I wish.
Hoop's fun.
It is. But I played AAU.
I played up until I did the whole graduate high school early thing, so I didn't play my senior year, but I played freshman, sophomore year.
What was your game like?
When I stopped playing AAU, I lost my ability to dribble, so I was just like a 3-and-D guy.
Oh, okay.
Just tons of energy, and Zach Levine was in my conference. He would go off for 35 every single time we played him.
Check 1 2, Mike. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 10-9-8-7.
It's dope.
So that's it for no more football roundtables?
We got one more week.
I mean, that was it today.
Oh, yeah, she'll come back to do over under.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that channel I'm sending you is -12 right now. So, I don't.
I thought I was going to be a hooper.
You played high school?
Yeah. I played freshman to sophomore year. And then football, I was good at football, so yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm out. Where'd you go to high school again?
Jump, though. I was never a jumper. Couldn't jump.
I wish that surprised me.
Yeah, I couldn't jump high. I thought I was going to be like 6'8".
Hey, Max.
The best in the game is brought to you by Old Dominion Freight Line, official freight carrier of USC Athletics, helping the world keep promises. The best in the game is Akili Arnold, new to USC, transferring over from Oregon State. Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown. Akili, man, welcome to the Trojan family. Everyone was very excited to get you, get you and your brother a little package duo. What was the deciding factor? What got you guys to USC?
Really, it was Coach Lynn. You know, we really wanted to go to a program that ran a good scheme, you know, and he was #1 on defense for UCLA last year, and we did play them, and they were a tough defense to go against. You know, you had Latu, you had the twins down there, you had Kamari in the back end, and John. So, you know, it was just him understanding football and understanding scheme, and I felt like he could really fit me and Easton in the, his scheme and kind of, move us around in places that we haven't played before. And, I think we could play fast because it's kind of just like Oregon State in terms of like football, like we're very advanced here, just like how we were at Oregon State. But, I think Coach Lynn he was the deciding factor, and I really like Link as a leader. Coach Riley, he's a great guy. I think I could really buy into his program and what he brought to USC. So I think, I was ready to come back home.
Yeah, what's it like? Talk about that a little bit. What's it like? You play 4 years somewhere else, and you get to come back home and finish off your career. What's that like?
I think it's a great experience. It's definitely new because I've never transferred like in high school or anything. So it was the first time I ever transferred to school. So it was new for me, but I think it was like an eye opener of like, oh wow, like there's a lot more other than Corvallis and being in that town for that long, and being accustomed to that and just coming back into a big city because I was from Orange County and I wasn't in a huge like downtown city, Mission Viejo. It's kind of ducked off in its own little town, and it was just cool to be in a new environment.
Yeah, what was that decision process like? Like, obviously, the news of the conference realignment happened probably, this time last year, and obviously Oregon State got the short end of the stick, and you had a lot of success at Oregon State, been there a long time, you and your brother, and, you obviously have to make a business decision for yourself, like, a top 25 team you guys were last year, top 20 team, like, just those emotions and that process and that timeline, what was that like handling that?
Man, it was crazy. It was just like once I kind of heard that whole thing was going to happen, coaches leaving, it was just a whole new experience for me. I've never had, or actually, no, I did. In high school, I had Bob Johnson. He was my high school coach, and then he ended up retiring my junior year, and then Chad Johnson became our head coach. And, that was new for me, but I was kind of cool with that because I met Chad through 7-on and everything, so I already had like a relationship. But like now it was just new, never had a coach really leave and bring the whole staff with them, and we obviously there were some coaches who stayed at Oregon State, but just that whole process was just new, and just had to adjust to it, and I'm glad I'm here.
You're listening to Akili Arnold on Trojans Live. You are in your 6th year, right? You're going into your 6th year. We have Bryson Shaw on. He's a similar guy. So there's at least another old guy in the locker room for you to talk to. What's it like now? I mean, your 6th year, and you're working with a lot of younger players. It's a unique situation. How's that in the locker room?
It's good. These young guys, they're crazy. I would say they're the most talented young guys I've been around. For, Dez, you have Dez Stevens, you have Elijah Newby, you got Jarvis, you got Marquise, Marcellus. Like, those young guys, they're going to be special here. And I think that, having them around and kind of bringing them under my wing and showing them how to really operate kind of like a professional, college is, it's cool to have fun and all, but at the same time, your goal is to go to the NFL. So, you got to operate like a professional. So, just kind of setting that standard and that standard for them to, follow me, and not even follow me, but just kind of have a little footsteps to kind of be like, oh, this is how you got to operate and stuff. But they go about it their own way, but just kind of a little stepping stone for them.
Talk about your skill set a little bit. Obviously, you guys were playing some tremendous defense up there in Oregon State for a couple of years, and what can you bring, do you think, and what kind of role you'll have in this Coach Lynn defense?
My skill set, I think I could do anything. I could do everything in my eyes. Cover. I think I could come down and fill in the box if needed. I think I'm well, I would say I'm a lot more advanced than I was before in terms of understanding football. So putting me in different pieces, like I was saying before, maybe I could be disguised somewhere else, but then go somewhere else. It's just stuff, little things like that. I think I could really add into my game because of Coach Lynn. He's very smart.
Hearing you say that just makes me think that are you on track to fill the nickel position just with all the versatility? Or how do you see that nickel versus safety versus that trade-off?
I kind of think it goes hand in hand because we run a lot of similar things that the nickel runs, and safety and stuff. So either way, like, it kind of works hand in hand with each other. So I wouldn't really say I'm like, oh, a nickel or a safety. Like right now I'm playing more safety, but you know, it all works hand in hand. You understand defense. You understand what that person has to do, the nickel has to do.
Got to fool those quarterbacks, man.
Oh, yeah. So, like,
Don't be doing that.
Who's a nickel? Who's a safety?
yeah.
Spring game coming up on April 20. You'll be rocking the zero out there?
Yeah.
All right, look for Agent Zero out there. Akili Arnold, thanks so much for joining Trojans Live. It's sponsored by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football. One final segment to come on Trojans Live.
Thank you, guys.
Good stuff.
Good job,
buddy. Good luck, man. Kick some ass. Let's go. Don't get too excited for spring. Let's hold some for later. Don't need to be killing each other out there.
I was gonna ask him. His brother's situation's unique. It's like a parents started dating, married, switched last name situation. But I didn't want to ask him over air because I didn't want to be wrong. Yeah, but
Sorry,
I'm pretty sure. No, you probably know more than me. It's a situation. It wasn't like a. I think it was a mom dating the dad. I think it's a cool story, but I didn't want to say the wrong thing and be wrong.
Take that offline.
Take it offline and then bring it back online.
Doll it up and bring it back out to the forefront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So weird, I don't understand why that's going over the hair like that. Shouldn't be.
What time is the spring game? Do we know this?
Noon.
Noon.
We're on from noon to 2.
Jordan's only said it 3 times today.
4:20.
420.
Oh,
Are we on noon to 2 or are we on
giving
11 to
away
1?
Marijuana cigarettes.
Free at FuboTV.com. That's FUBOTV.com.
Spring is a time for rejuvenation. And Trojans Live. Once again, here are Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, and Max Brown.
One final segment of Trojans Live at a Monday night at National Championship. Monday night, Jordan Moore, Sean Cody, Max Brown, Keely Yord inspires my over-under, which is not an over-under, presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC Athletics. This one's simple, but who do you got? UConn, Purdue. Now, Sean obviously knows a lot on this topic because he asked who was playing earlier, so I'm looking forward to your expert opinion here, Sean.
My analysis, I saw Drew Brees up there, so I'm going to go Purdue. They have a big, tall guy, too, right? I saw that guy. I've watched him a little bit.
They tend to have tall guys in basketball, yes.
I'm going Purdue.
He is extremely tall, though, in fairness. Actually, UConn has one, too, Donovan Clingan. I'm looking forward to seeing the two of them. You know, what happens when a big guy faces another big guy for the first time?
I just saw a jump hook over there. Yeah, 7-4.
Buckets, that's all he does.
I'm going Purdue, though, because if Purdue wins this, there's a ESPN or a sports documentary in the works. Last year, losing to a 16 seed and then coming back and winning the Natty. That'd be quite the story.
Same thing happened to Virginia.
Yeah.
The only other 1 seed to lose to a 16 came back and won the title.
So just lose to a 16 seed, then you got a Natty in your future.
Just keep being a 1 seed year after year and roll your dice, I think, is probably the best way to do it, even if it ends early. Sometimes it won't.
This was the over-under? Just wanted to double check. Okay.
This is it.
As I told our producers, as far as I'm concerned, basketball season ended on Sunday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm taking UConn. Don't wait until game time to plan for retirement. Open your free iTrust Capital account today and get your crypto IRA. iTrust Capital is the official cryptocurrency platform of the USC Trojans. And fight on Trojans and fly on with ONT. Ontario International Airport is a proud sponsor of our USC Trojans. Visit SoCalSoEasy.com to book your journey through ONT today. We've got one more Trojans Live coming up next week. Then we'll be live at the spring game. Thank you to our entire team here, our executive producers, Drew DeHart, producer Rick Cutler, and our engineer, Ben Conroy. Thanks so much, everyone, and fight on.
You can't spell victorious without USC.
Three receiver crunch set on the left side. One back is T.J. Williams. The pitch to Williams, and he'll be thrown for a loss. And the Trojans have won the game! Triple overtime winner for USC. How do you do?
Trojans Live was presented by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Make sure to check back in next Monday night at 7 for more Trojans Live. Exclusively on your home for all things Trojan, AM 790 KABC. And follow us on the USC Trojan Media Network. Trojans Live is an exclusive presentation of Play Fly Sports on AM 790 KABC and the USC Trojan Media Network.